your cares at home. Leave your cares at home. Get your two-step, get your groove on. This is feel-good music, you can move on. Relax, stress-free, leave your cares at home. Leave your cares at home.
What's going on, everybody? Buenos noches, familia. Good evening to the family. It's your man, Russ, Mr. the Homesick Buckeye. We are with you once again on a Tuesday night to do what we do, have a little fun, hang out with the family. We got smart people on the panel, so unfortunately you might learn something. And we have something a little different this evening. First and foremost, how are you doing, my beloved sister?
I'm doing great. It's been a great week so far.
That is wonderful. I love it. I'm glad to hear that. Always good to be with you. She is my favorite person to grill, chill, or kill with. You guys know how we roll. Did you kill anything this week?
Maybe a squirrel on accident. But no, I didn't go hunting. So we do have the doe season coming up, but I think I'm just going to let him go out with his rifle and see if he can get something this season.
There you go. Speaking of getting something this season, look who it is, everybody.
Thomas.
Sergeant Prime Rib, our man Jordan Thomas in the building. He is here, but he is not the only one here. You know, family, I try my best not to have too many smart people on the panel. You know, we try to listen. Why do you think I have Rick here every other week, man? You know, why do you think Tom is here, man? I try my best to keep the IQ level down. But unfortunately, this week, we can't do it. We have the lovely, the charming, the talented Adrian Gladhill is with us here, ladies and gentlemen. She is not the OG, she is the AG. She is my friend. And we are going to do something a little different this week. And before I get into it, we're going to say hello to the family. You know how we do. Go down to the regulars. Say hello to everybody that's here. We appreciate you. Carnivore Jerry is in the building. She says she's not working tonight. I love that. She got fired, ladies and gentlemen. That's really what she's trying to tell everybody. She got fired from her job, and you know, it's okay. It's the holiday season. You'll be all right. Let's see who else I got here. Of course, Tom is here. Kitchen Witch, hello there, beloved. Ross, I ordered oxtails at work to make soup. They sent it whole.
Oh boy.
Well, you know, I guess you'll have to chop it up. You know, either that or get a bigger pot, man. I don't know what to tell you. Listen, you know, we don't solve complex problems here, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, that's not what we do. All right. So I love that though. I don't make oxtail soup. I just make oxtails. I put them in a pile and I eat them. But I love that. Greetings from slightly chilly Tucson. Crank, my man, it's good to see you. Quack Quack Heart Attack is in the building. Rick is here. Always good to see you. Brian's here. Good evening, Russ. Good evening to you. Yes, Tom is up to his artistic shenanigans. Well, Sandy is here. Sandy, put the bottle down. Sandy's got a drinking problem, ladies. You know, for those who don't know, it'll be all right. She puts the wobbly boot on about 11 o'clock in the morning, but she'll be all right. You know. Lizzie's here. Lizzie, okay, now Adrian, I don't know. I know you're new to this. Lizzie has an anger management problem. She will chop you in the throat for no reason. She's very dangerous, very hostile. If you see her, just run. I'm just telling you, Lizzie, she's out of control. But we love her. Aaron is here, Booby Ghost. Good to see you, beloved. Glad you're here. Boston Danny. I know it's cold up there. Danny, it's cold outside. I really must go. I know it's cold up there. Okay, let's see who's... Cheryl is here from Wisconsin. Yeah, more cold people. Rick says he never misses a keto cookout. Well, listen, you know, I'm trying to get rid of you. Do everything I can to get rid of you people. You won't leave. Linda Flanagan says, hello, everyone. Good to see you, beloved. Glad you are here. And Carnivore Jerry has got an internet problem, it looks like, I think there. I don't know, Jerry, if you can hear me. Thanks to you, Rick, I found Russ. Well, I wasn't lost, but yeah, Smooth is here. Good to see you. Glad you're here. Free Thinker says, hey, Russ, Laura, hello, everyone. Don, always good to see you. Glad you're here. Jimmy says, hello, Russ and Laura. Laura is a sweetie. Yeah, okay. You guys haven't seen the real her. Hey, ask hey,
Haven't seen me deer hunting.
That's the entire deer population that will speak otherwise. She's not sweet
That's
at all.
right.
Nasty. Love the tie-dye. Thank you. Yeah, I wear a lot of tie-dye stuff. I like tie-dye.
I got tie-dye on too.
Yes, I love that. I love that. Marla says,
yeah,
good
I'm looking like 1984. All
Papa
these
Carnivore.
bright colors.
Pete is here. What's going on, Petey? Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Glad you're here. I think Papa bought 5 New York strip roasts at Publix, cut them into 10 big steaks. Love that.
Nice.
Good time when you probably still have that fat you bought for 30 cents for 10 pounds of it.
That's good.
What else we got here? I think yes, Danny says we are freezing. I love that. And
we sent it to them from Illinois.
Yeah. Adrian's in Wisconsin too. I knew it was Wisconsin or Minnesota.
Anyway.
Anyway.
I try to confuse everyone.
Well, you know, you got to keep them guessing. I'm with you. Lisa says, wow, first time I got the start of a live. Well, that's exciting. I'm glad you are here. And you're here just in time. We have something a little different tonight we're going to do. I'm feeling like 1985. Wow, that's
yes,
pretty specific.
All these bright colors.
Amy is here. Hello there, my beloved. She is in the building. That's everybody, at least for now. If I missed you, I'm sorry. You know, I'm terrible with the chat and all that stuff. So anyway, my friend Adrian is here tonight. I'm so glad that she came on with us tonight and got to hang out with us here in our goofy show. I don't know if she's been around. She's been on YouTube and in the air and everywhere, a lot of different meetups. So people know her and know a lot about her. But I've talked to her a couple times, and we're going to do something special and a little different tonight. I'm sorry. I'm going to apologize in advance. Some of you are going to learn something. We hate that, but it's just how it works. This is intriguing to me, and I know it may ruffle some feathers, but I don't care about that. Don't care at all. She is here to tell her story and to give information to people about GLP-1s, also some dietary changes I think that she's making in her life that a lot of people have made in her life and she's made in her life. And this show, although we have fun and laugh and joke around, our health is important. We talk about it. And I bring what I hope is good information to people. We're not judgmental here. We have people from all different stripes of the ketogenic space. I love that. I don't care what you eat. I just want to get you good information so you can make good choices for yourself. And that's why she's here, because I am intrigued by this. And when I'm intrigued, I want answers. And she is smart and she is great and she can give them to us. So why don't you just go ahead? I think you know where we want to go. And we'll get back to, we'll have some hijinks and some tomfoolery. You know, we will have shenanigans, people. I will sing, Jimmy. I will sing. Jimmy gets mad if I don't sing for a certain amount of time.
Something.
Introduce yourself to people who don't know you and know your story and hit us with that, and then we'll get into it.
Well, thank you for having me. I've wanted to come on here for years. I think I met you like 2 years ago.
Yes.
Maybe at Hack Your Health 2 years ago. And you said, hey, you got to come to Florida. And I did.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. It was in Austin. And I was, my friend Erica put me up to passing out flyers for Keto Orlando. She put me to work and I did. And you came and first thing you came over, you said, I'm here because of you. And I'm like, hey, you got to tell Erica that. Because so anyway, yes. And we became fast friends and, I think the world of you. So we've had a lot of interesting conversations, several. And the one in Sarasota started it at the meetup. And then we touched on it again in Hack. And so I wanted to bring you on to talk about it. And so let folks know who you are and what we're doing.
Hi, my name is Adrienne. Some people call me the Biggest Loser Girl because that's kind of where my weight loss journey started, was on that TV show, season 3. It was 18 years ago. I was very successful on the show. I lost 66 pounds, but then I gained over 160 over the next couple of years after the show. I then started doing Biggest Loser again, running, half marathons, restricting. I was making all my meals, and there was lots of just, green veggie and chicken, green veggie, fish. It's very, very low calorie, low fat. And we all know what happens when you do that prolonged. If there's one thing that drives me crazy, it's when people are like, well, you're obese because you didn't stick to it. Some of the metabolic problems I got into are proof that I stuck to those diets. And I was very, very rigid. And why do I say that? Because it slowed my metabolism down, and I started struggling with weight gain immediately. I lost 100 pounds running and tracking and being strict. And I started going back up again. And that was my first clue. It's taken me another 10, 12 years to figure it out. But that was my first clue that there was something more going on here than just effort and being perfect enough and working hard enough, because I was working so hard and I was again gaining weight even with my consistency. So at that time, it was very popular. I saw a lot of my alumni were getting bariatric surgery and they were losing their weight and they were keeping it off for more than 5 minutes. So I went and researched that, and I was like, that makes so much sense. Because when I eat, I feel like a 5-gallon bucket. I feel like you can't fill the bucket. So it makes sense to me that we should shorten the stomach. Also, I'm not eating very many calories, but I'm gaining fat. So I must be hyper absorbing. And so it made sense to me to shrink the stomach and to skip some intestine. That all seemed logical at the time. So I had that surgery. I lost about 60 more pounds. So I got back down to Biggest Loser. But within 6 months of the surgery, I started having complications. And the main complication that was just blaring in my face was hypoglycemia. And this was very serious. Like, one time I was driving, and when it hits you with 15 seconds. It's like a whoosh. And I had enough time to call my parents, tell them there was something wrong. At that time, I didn't know what it was, pulled over and passed out. And they came and they woke me up. And it was just reoccurring. So to me, that was, and on my bariatric journey, again, Mrs. Type A, I got to succeed. Everybody knows who I am because I was on national TV. Everybody in my town was like, oh my gosh, it's the Biggest Loser girl. So I wanted to be successful so bad, and I was so strict on it. But the reactive hypoglycemia, once that started, it was just very difficult, because if you've ever had that, your body goes into severe fight or flight within seconds. And it's like you can't move and you need someone to bring you something to bring your blood sugar up. I did many experiments because this has gone on now. I had the surgery in 2014. So it's been 11 years. I've done a lot of different experiments of seeing, like, would it just come up on its own? Maybe we need to remove more. Maybe it is things that turn into energy quick. So we got to remove milk. We got to remove anything liquid calorie. We've got to, obviously the very first thing I removed, even when losing 100 pounds, was the fruit. Anything with sugar in it was cut like before I even had the surgery, when I was doing the 100 pounds of weight loss. So I've been sugar-free for 12 years, maybe longer actually, because I just knew sugar was a problem for me and that I didn't feel good and I was chronically gaining weight. I cut all grains. As time went on, I just kept cutting, but I'm still having this reactive hypoglycemia and I'm getting more and more tired, and I'm still struggling with chronic weight gain. I'm struggling not to be 220 pounds, which I'm only 5'4". So 220 is, I don't know, BMI of 40. I don't know. I don't have the math on me right now, but it's obese. 220 is obese. And I just kept fighting that number. I've been fighting it really hard for sure since 2012 when my daughter was born. And I was 330 pounds. And when a 5'4" woman is 330 pounds, you just go, I can't live like this. I can't move. I hurt. I can't live like this. I have to do everything in my power to never be 330 pounds again. So I'm a really strict person. The chronic illnesses started stacking, chronic fatigue. I ended up with the bad virus, the bad one, that we're not supposed to stay on YouTube. After that virus, that just tipped me over the edge. I had been going into allopathic medicine all this time saying, something's wrong. Here's my food journals. And they would just tell me that I was tracking wrong. They would tell me, I must just be doing it, or I must be hiding things. No one believed me that I was being so strict and still gaining weight. They also had horrible advice for the reactive hypoglycemia. Horrible. They gave me sugar tabs and they said, keep these in your purse. And if anybody out there knows about these, what would happen is, yes, it'd bring my blood sugar up, way up, and then it would dive. And so I would end up on this roller coaster. And the longer I would let it go on, I would end up with like hangovers. And I've been learning more and more about why these hangovers have been happening, but it's such a stressor on the nervous system to be having these situations. They happened every single birthday party for 10 years. They happened if I tried to take my kids to the grocery store. It happened when we were in the Mall of America one day. I had a baby and 2 little kids and whoomp, dropped. But I'm a God person, and someone from high school, I'm at the Mall of America, and someone from high school walks by and she said, "You look terrible. Are you okay?" And I said, "I need sugar and I can't move." I said, "I need something." At that point, I did know I need peanut butter and banana. I need a mix, but she had a cookie on her. So that got me up enough to walk someplace and get some protein and fat. So along the way, I'm learning how to stabilize.
That's why I keep cookies on me, just for that reason. You never know when you're going to pass out and you might need to. But let's fast forward. So you got through that and you got to carnivore diet. Let's kind of we want to fast forward.
Eventually, my autoimmune was so bad. I'm going to the doctor. They're not doing anything. I did finally find a functional doctor because I also have no milk supply for my baby. And this is my 4th baby with no milk supply. I did all the things. I home birthed. All this, red flags. Red flags were happening. And she saw Hashimoto's. My adrenals were 1 point away from the highest level of adrenal dysfunction. And she said, "You have to change your life or you're going to end up in a nursing home." And at that point, I'm willing to do anything. And my dad had just lost 60 pounds on the carnivore diet. And one of the people he followed, who is it? No Grains, No Sugar, Vinny Tortolich. His assistant, Autumn, his co-host, she had autoimmune and was feeling better on carnivore. So I did carnivore. And honestly, I started feeling so much better. I was having food reactions after every single time I ate. And I had already been researching no beans, no nightshades, no garlic. I'd already been pulling these things. I was already years of dairy-free, grain-free. And so we just pulled, carnivore helped me do the ultimate elimination, which is just pull everything except for the meat. And it really did help. My hypoglycemia started smoothing out for the first time. I did have some events while I was strict carnivore for 2.5 years, but they were very rare. But I was able to identify, though, this isn't just a food problem. This is a stress problem. This is when my body feels stressed, it can't handle it, and my blood sugar drops. So the only ones I had over carnivore were stress. I'm starting to feel free. I feel full for the first time in my life. I'm losing weight. I'm like, this is the ticket. And I felt so successful for 9 months. I mean, I feel like I had the pink cloud for 9 months. After the pink cloud, then I just started joining groups because I was like, well, I started gaining weight already. I was like, well, I just need to tweak things. Well, I just need to do some challenges. So after that, I went challenge upon challenge upon challenge upon challenge, trying to keep the food noise away and trying not to chronically gain weight. I just kept going through the cycle and nothing seemed to be sticking. So I ended up on Lion Diet and it felt so great in the beginning. And you can find YouTube videos where I'm like, look at me, Lion Diet, I feel awesome. I'm on top of the world. And then faceplant. I ended up doing it for about 60 days, but it was 35 days in when my system just crashed. Chronic inflammation, 14 pounds in just a couple of days came on. My energy crashed. My food noise went through the roof. And that's when it dawned on me, I don't know if I can carnivore my way out of this. I think that I need something else. So I want to add on here too. I also did the mold thing. So we moved out of a moldy house and I also took LDN. So we're really calming the nervous system. We're removing ourselves from exposure. So there was more to this picture than just carnivore. But I really blamed the mold. I was like, every place we go seems to have mold. Why am I still sick? It must be the mold. And we moved 5 times in that 2.5 years. And the 5th place is where we are now. It's a brand new manufactured home, never had water in it until we turned it on. It was manufactured in a factory, and I'm still sick. So, but before we moved here, there's more, blah, blah. So next thing I'm like, okay, well, some people are looking into this thyroid thing. And I'd already been taking selenium. I'd already been taking zinc. I'd already tried high fat. I also tried fat fasting, sardine fasting. My sardine videos are still getting hits. It's so weird. I tried many different variations.
Yeah, Bruce had a question. Have you been checked for adrenal insufficiency?
Before I even was carnivore, that was something that came up. I did the 4-point spit test, and my cortisol was for the whole day. And now I'm learning, as we're looking into gastric bypass reversal, that when we alter the anatomy of the stomach, it can not only affect your blood sugar, it can also affect your stress hormone pathways. So I think that this surgery has made it just really, really difficult to heal that. But I'm trying. I'm doing breath work.
Yeah.
All right,
I totally forgot my blue blockers. Sorry, I can get to the point.
We only got an hour show.
Okay. So get to the point. I needed more. I worked with a functional guy.
Hold on. Let me recap. So, struggle with weight problems, health problems, found the carnivore diet. It helped you for a while. Then you went lion. It helped you for a while, but nothing seemed to just really deliver you. And I remember I was sitting with you, and I remember seeing you, and you were a little unhappy that you still had weight you wanted to lose. I thought you were great. I'm like, wow, you're doing so well, but you weren't happy with where you were, and you still had other problems. And then the next time I saw you, you whispered something you had lost the extra pounds. You were just normal. You're a happy person, and you're just upbeat, but you were even more upbeat. And you're like, I'm so proud of you. You're doing so great. You're so happy. Congratulations on all your success. And you look to the right and look to the left, and you were like, I have to tell you something. And I'm like, the way you're looking, I'm like, am I going to be an accessory after the fact here? I mean, did you just, and you were like, well, I did something. I'm like, okay, what did you do? And it's like, what are you talking about? And you said, I've been taking GLP-1s.
Mm-hmm.
You got some blowback and some scrutiny for it. And so let's get to you doing that, the decision process in doing that, and the blowback you got for doing that.
So first thing I did was check the thyroid and the hormones out, and I started some thyroid medicine. I started some hormones. I gave that a good 6 months, and I wasn't seeing huge changes in my inflammation. Some of the cringies came off. There was definitely symptom improvement, but it didn't seem to be quite the ticket. And then Dr. Amy Horniman did a podcast on how we've got it all wrong about GLP. It's actually a hormone. It's a digestive hormone. A lot of people are deficient in it for many reasons, and that if you go low and slow with it, and if you couple it with lifestyle, that it can reduce inflammation, reduce chronic illness symptoms, which I was struggling with. It can clear up the brain, and it can finally help with the blood sugar issues, and finally maybe be able to lose weight and keep it off. The one worry I had was, with this gastric bypass, is this going to make my hypoglycemia worse? Well, that was one worry. Another worry is that many of the people in our community actually have poor vagal tone. And if you combined the wrong dose of GLP with poor vagal tone, poor gut health, you can have issues. So I was very cautious getting started. And I did the experiment in the dark for 2-3 months. And my best friend just kept saying, you got to tell people. You have to tell people. And I was like, blasphemy. Why would you say that? And at the time, I had stopped recording my YouTube. I had stopped discussing weight loss and carnivore. I was focusing on health and carnivore, which if you talk to long-term carnivores, they will focus on, and they will say, this is a health diet. It's not necessarily a weight loss. A lot of people actually dispute it's not a weight loss diet. This is a healing diet. So I never deceived people in saying, look at me, I'm losing so much weight. Yeah, carnivore. I focused on the health aspects of the diet. And yeah, so I did decide to come out. And before I came out, I called really big people in the space and said, this is what I've been doing. What do you think? And I was waiting for them to just blast me. And they were like, that's really interesting. Where do I find out more? So if anybody wants to find out more, we can talk about it. And then, of course, we're going to go around of like the problems and why this isn't the best thing for everyone and how it's being done wrong in, I'm going to go with 60% of the cases. I don't know what it is. It's pretty high. But there's a playlist on my YouTube channel. So if you look up Adrienne K. Bloodhill, that's GLP experts, and it's primarily functional type doctors or practitioners who tell you what it actually is and how to properly use it.
Well, I think it's because everybody, it's on the news all the time. It's on commercials all the time. I know so many people. We all have friends, relatives, neighbors, coworkers who are thinking about taking it or taking it. Some people want to do it, but have questions about it. So that's why I wanted to bring it, because, regardless of where you stand, it's not something that I want to do, at least not right now. But if you are going to do it or thinking about doing it or have a friend or loved one, I just want to talk about it. Talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, give people information so that they can help themselves and or help a friend or loved one to make the decisions about it. So why don't you start with the first couple of things that people, would say are misconceptions about what it is, what it does. It's not a miracle drug or something like that. I mean, I don't think, but why don't you start with that?
I don't think it's a miracle because if you do it wrong, you're going to lose muscle. You're going to lose bone. You're going to end up malnourished. You're going to ruin your brain. You're going to ruin your metabolism. You're going to get unhealthy. And here's a fun fact. Most of the negative press is actually paid for. So when you guys are seeing all these news stories, all those news stories are planted and paid for, because the other big pharma companies, they don't want this out. They don't want people feeling better. They want people obese so that they can stack diseases and keep coming to allopathic medicine. Big food doesn't want this because people stop eating junk food. Some people. It makes you crave healthier food. It makes you want to move your body. It makes you feel better. It reduces disease. It's showing it's showing a half a dozen different cancers in studies are showing to be a reduced likelihood if you're on this. But I do think that there are issues. I totally agree. There are issues. I've seen them in my friends and my family. But in my friends and family, maybe they didn't eat enough meat. Maybe they didn't exercise. But when they lost the weight, they started feeling better and then making the lifestyle changes. Where we have a problem is in the elderly. If we're overdosing elderly, they can't just get their muscle back. They can't just get their bone back. They might not recover from that. They might actually die from it if they're done wrong. And a lot of people are doing it wrong. They're not requiring scans. They're not telling them, hey, you have to eat your protein. You need to get electrolytes in because of how these affect the kidneys and how you're flushing so much fat that you're depleting your minerals. I think people need to know that you really need to make lifestyle changes with these. The sooner, the better.
Right. Why don't you chime in there? I know you well enough to know your faces. And so why don't you
I'm looking forward to it.
Me?
give a couple of thoughts on what Adrienne has kind of said, and if there's anything you agree or disagree with.
Well, these actually are not new medications. So like the first one came out in 2005, and as a nurse, we use them on diabetics. And she's right, they were at the higher doses. So we did see tons of gastroparesis, severe bone loss, muscle loss, affecting heart, kidneys, everything. I do think that the way most physicians do it is very wrong. Like they don't start out with DEXA scans. They go right to, these higher doses of stuff. They start out at 2.5, and really you should, like, if you're going to do it, like I'm not going to do it, but if I was going to, I would microdose like 0.8.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I have seen, and I've seen this with people who did microdosing over the last 2 years. I've had lots of people I've worked with that have pancreatitis, end up with gallbladder issues, end up with what they call decassation. And that's where the small intestine kind of goes inside itself. And you have to have surgery most of the time to fix that. So the things that scare me is it doesn't really go after the root cause. And it's still something that you have to stay on for the rest of your life. And they just said that the FDA, they're trying to get it to be approved for people as young as 6. And all of those doctors have come out that are talking about that, saying this is a lifelong medication. So me being the kind of nurse that's like, I don't want to be stuck on something for the rest of my life if I don't have to. I'm like, I don't want to do that. So I just think it needs to be very careful in children. I'm all for if an adult wants to do it, fine. Just know that you should be getting DEXA scans often. You should be doing, the weightlifting. I would do the smallest dose possible, and it would be my last thing that I would try, because it is something that you're going to have to stick with, because the rebound weight gain of what we saw with a lot of the clients that I've worked with is kind of, and still having the nutritional deficiencies, because whenever you take something that affects the lower portion of the stomach or the small intestine, it does affect how you get your nutrients absorbed. So kind of like same way with gastric bypass. And Aaron, I don't remember, was yours a sleeve or was it a full bypass?
Bypass.
Okay. Yeah. Which that kind of throws you at that nutrition deficiency, which is, now you have Sears also, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think, like I said, my main thing is I'm like, if adults want to do something like that, I'm all for that. I'm just worried about children, especially as young as 6, if they get that approved, and that is a lifelong medication for them. But hopefully more of the mainstream will see that there's not as bad of side effects when they microdose. I still have worked with several clients who have pancreatitis, gallbladder, gastroparesis, and decussation of their small bowel. And one of them did also have a gastric bypass, which puts you at a higher risk of having that happen, where your bowel kind of goes inside itself. But a couple of the other gals did not have that, any gastric or a sleeve. So that I just am like, I just don't want to be stuck on a pharmaceutical, whether it's a compounding pharmacy or a regular pharmacy, because there's somebody still making money. It's not as much, because believe me, AstraZeneca or that Novo Nordisk, they're making millions of dollars off of these people at these high doses.
Now, here's a question that I have: is that the dosages? Now, first, well, let me go back to. Let's start with Tom. Tom put this up here. He was on Mounjaro for 5 weeks, and now he's taking Victoza. Victoza seems to be okay. And the lowest setting, he had gastroparesis. I've heard it said many times that the side effects, the vast majority, are at the high doses, not the low doses. What would you say to that, Adrian, in your experience? And are there different types? They're not all the same, right?
Okay, so I'm sorry, there was something wrong, so I couldn't hear, but I have a lot here that we can address. Okay, so let's start with the rebound weight. We are supplementing a deficiency. So just like if you destroy your thyroid to the point that there is no selenium or fat intake or iodine, you're still deficient in thyroid. And so you supplement the thyroid because your thyroid's so damaged. And it's the same here. And it can be from many different things of why people aren't having proper GLP-1. But one is gut enzymes. And they're showing that people who have chronic obesity or people who struggle with food noise have high DPP4 or other enzymes that are literally breaking it up from leaving your gut. So that would explain why I would see some relief on carnivore, but then it would come back with food noise. Okay, so of course you're going to rebound because after you stop taking it, you're not processing food properly anymore because you're deficient in a digestive hormone, just like similar cousin to type 1 diabetes. Obviously, type 1 diabetes, we have to manage every single meal, or if it's a life and death thing, that's very serious. But in this case, we are also deficient in a digestive hormone. So we are improperly storing fat. We are improperly not making enough energy, and our metabolism is lower, and the signaling isn't getting to the brain, which is why people are hungry. The signaling isn't getting out. Okay, so nutrition. Many people are actually showing better nutrient absorption. This can, because of the reduced inflammation alone, it can help seal up the gut, which can help the gut biome start balancing better. So a lot of people over time, I'm not saying this is the best, but I can now have dairy without bloat, where before I could add a couple tablespoons to my coffee and I would get huge bloat belly. No more bloat. Like, the gut feels so much better. I've been able to add foods back for the first time in my life, including garlic. Garlic used to bother me so much. So the problem is so many people are coming onto this with gut issues, and it can make gut issues worse because we are slowing things down, which the bad bacteria goes, so the wrong dose for each person. Now, as far as the guy who is on the starting dose and having issues, he would either need to go lower or break up his dose. Not medical advice. It's just the way that they set the dosing is such a big hit on your system that if someone already has issues, it's too much. So if we can take littler, tinier hits and kind of smooth things out, that can reduce those symptoms. But also, if you're having paresis, the dose is too high. My husband can't even handle a third of the starting dose a year into the medication. So some people are very sensitive, but some people need to work harder on their gut before they go on it. And I know that's, some people see gut healing, some people see their gut get worse, and that is just the truth. Let's hear. What else did you say? Kids.
Rick said, Rick had a question. What is food noise? He's not familiar.
Food noise is when it's intrusive. It's unnatural to be hungry. You eat, and literally within 30 minutes, your body's telling you, what else can we eat? What else is there? So food noise isn't just eat all the time. It's also obsessively telling yourself no. Punishing yourself because you just ate something. It's negative and positive thoughts just constantly. And when the signalings get to the brain and you're satiated and your body's producing energy better, it is like the better than any SSRI that's ever been created. Ooh, I love the big pharma thing. Okay, I totally agree with you. And it's scandalous and it's disgusting. And there are companies that are actually fighting the patents all across the world, including our own country, because this is a natural compound in our body and they're not supposed to be able to patent that. Currently, the main patents are actually on the delivery system, the pens that they made. So most people, I think, are getting it from compounding or another area that we're not supposed to talk about on YouTube. So most people aren't, nobody can afford it. I actually need it for the reactive hypoglycemia and I can't get it approved. Nobody can get it approved. It's ridiculous. Let's see, what else did you say? Dosing is a problem. Types. Okay, so the initial ones are all GLP. That's really hammering on your body. It's not necessarily super healing. It's not something that's necessarily going to stick. And that's Ozempic, Wegovy, liraglutide, and the earlier versions. It is going to help you lose weight, but it's not necessarily improving hormone signaling. It's not necessarily reducing inflammation. The newer ones are really helping heal. They're really helping heal the gut. They're a totally different thing than those older ones, which are really heavy in one hormone that's very gastric centric.
What are the new ones? What are the newer ones called? What are the ones that people?
Tirzepatide, which is Zepbound or Mounjaro are the name brands. And now I don't want to say the new one because I feel like it'll get your video flagged, but it rhymes with Retatrutide.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
As far as kids, this is a super tough one. I really think people need to watch their kids, get to know their kids, try all the lifestyle things that they can, because some kids grow out of it. Some kids are pudgy and then they grow out of it, and you'd hate to add something to their body that their body is now going to want when their body was going to adjust anyway. So I don't know about this 6-year-old business. I don't know that we're necessarily having a ton of disease at 6 years old, but closer to 18, now we might start be having issues. And the truth of the matter is that the gut biome can be inherited. There can be enzyme mutations on the receptor sites all over your body that can block the absorption, and that's there. And so if we could look and evaluate, like truly evaluate, not kids that want to lose 20 pounds, but like truly evaluate, is this child inflamed? Is this child doing a lot of things and none of it's sticking and they're chronically gaining weight? I wish I had this at 18. I wouldn't have tanked my adrenals and my thyroid. I wouldn't have slowed my metabolism down with all the dieting. And it just would have been a lot less stress on my body this whole time. I probably wouldn't be in closer to a disease state than if I would have gotten this ahead of time. But again, how do we know unless you're really, really evaluating that kid and throwing a lot at them? Are they eating whole foods? Are they moving their body? Are they getting sun? Are they getting good sleep? Have you seen any specialists and lifestyle specialists so that we're ensuring that their nutrient deficiencies are handled, their gut health is handled? There's a lot of things we can throw at it before this.
Bruce had a question. Adrian, I've seen you mention peptides in your videos. I feel like I came in the middle of a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
What are they and how do they work?
You want to take it, Laura? Do you know?
So
you know what
peptides,
are.
yeah. Peptides are natural compounds that we have in our body, and sometimes they're shut off. Can be from our horrible diet, could be environmental. There's lots of things that can do it. There's many. I mean, there are so many peptides. I don't think you could name them all. There are so many. A lot of people will know like the BPC 157, which is really something you'll hear people like Joe Rogan that had an injury. He had an injury to a tendon that he took that injection. Some people do it orally to help with those kinds of things. You have MOTS-y. I mean, you have tons of these peptides, but what it does is these are signaling, molecules. And so some of these people will take these peptides, and like I said, some are oral, some are injectable. There's different ways of getting them in the body, but it just kind of helps turn those things on, the regulatory, so that those things, so the signals can get sent to where they need to, so that you can get the nutrients and the things moved around where they need to go. So it's kind of like opening up the highways. And I do think that there is a lot of, like, they just need to get in there and quit being so damn greedy and really study how these peptides work for the body. They just, and unfortunately, most of the big pharma companies are not going to put the money, just like they do on all the rest of the stuff. They're not going to put big money into these because they're not going to be the only ones to be able to make the money off of it. So they're not going to do it. They don't have a vested interest. They like to get you on medications that you're going to have to take for the rest of your life. I mean, that's just the way big pharma has been since 1912, 10. So yeah, peptides are pretty awesome.
Some of the peptides that you would know would be insulin, Ozempic, and even collagen peptides that we take orally. Yep. And so, like she said, they signal. And why they don't want us to know about these is because they're so effective. Not everything you have to take forever, like BPC, in the right circumstance could prevent a surgery. It could literally heal an injury and prevent surgeries. There's different peptides that can help with the thyroid, and then the bioregulators. This is a bridge you all can cross. Bioregulators are animal derived, and they're typically oral, although there are some injectables, and they get through the gut and they go to an organ, and they help that organ get back to homeostasis. So you do like 30 days. You don't do a year. You do like 30 days. It helps that organ. There's an amazing one for the prostate, if anybody wanted to know.
So it sounds like, basically, to summarize, that some people's systems are just so jacked up that just changing the diet, is not if you're young, but if you're 50, 60 years old, like many people are, who, let's say, come to ketogenic diets of whatever stripe, they carnivore or whatever, they may have done 50 years of damage to themselves, and the diet alone just isn't going to get it done. They still have inflammation. They still have other issues going on. And it's just, they need something else. I wonder about people, just a thought that popped into my mind just now, that are young, who have, like a Michaela Peterson, who as a child had all these issues. I mean, she couldn't have ruined her life at 5 years old,
Probably familial from her mom.
Yeah, maybe. But
she was pregnant.
Is that something that, taking some of these GLP-1s could maybe help with some of those?
Some of the peptides.
Some of the peptides, not necessarily GLP-1, but some of the peptides could absolutely help. And these bioregulators, I mean, I've heard, and these bioregulators have been studied for 60 years in Russia. And I've heard that there are some that can actually cure type 1 diabetes, but they don't want them in our country.
Nope.
Thomas,
you'll
we're
never
doing a
get
lot
it
of
here.
computing. Have you looked into this?
Into what? I'm sorry. I was looking at the
Peptides? Have you looked into the peptides and the GLP-1s?
Well, like I said before, I was taking the Manjaro, but it was causing me a stomach ache. So I was getting gastroparesis from it at the lowest setting. So, but I am taking the Victoza. That seems to be helping somewhat because my blood sugars had actually gone high because I was at 6.2 A1C and now I'm at 7.5. So obviously I had to do something to bring those sugars down. So, yeah. So, I mean, I'm not expecting to be on Victoza forever, but, I'm doing whatever I can,
The newest one is way less GLP, way more muscle preserving, way more gut healing. That might be a better fit for you when that comes out.
Once I see my doctor in January, I think.
Oh, won't be out by then.
Oh, well, then I'll wait, I don't think I see my endocrinologist until like May. So, but that'll be.
Well, that was very educational, informative, and hopefully people know. And I think you recommend, of course, changing the diet and microdosing, the smallest dose, that you need.
DEXA scans.
And
DEXA scans. So with the dosing, at first I came in microdose. And I suggest everybody start on a low dose. I do, because you could end up with an eye issue. You could end up with a gut issue. You don't want to jack your system. So start low. But the problem is people who have, let's say, enzymes on the receptor sites, they're not metabolizing it. So I know people who can take 15 and they have no appetite suppression because their body is not absorbing it at wherever. It's not absorbing it. And so there are also new ones that hit different pathways that have been pretty amazing for people, like cagrilintide. But yeah, it's really worth the deep dive. I have a list. It'll blow your mind. I actually, when I first heard Dr. Amy talking about this, I was like, this sounds crazy. So I went and looked at a debate between Tina Moore, Dr. Mark Hyman, and Callie Means. Because I liked Callie. So I was like, that was ED. I'm just kidding. I still like him, I think. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, I was like, Callie will set us straight. And Dr. Tina swamped him with facts on what's actually happening in the population. And I think my biggest message, I have two big messages. Number one, if you're out there and you're trying and you think you're a failure and you think you're not good enough and you just keep failing and failing and failing, maybe there's something physiologically going on. Because if you can't fight your urges, that's a potential brain signaling issue. If you're chronically gaining weight, your body's likely not regulating energy properly. It really could be more physiological than you think. And then message number 2 is to all the bros out there and all the influence out there who are like, fatty, put your fork down. Don't be lazy and take the easy way out. This isn't the easy way out. This is how my husband's always lived. He can literally eat a bowl of noodles and not eat for 24 hours. He just doesn't even think about eating. Here, I'm having to tell myself, don't eat 2,000 times a day. It's no wonder I've struggled to be successful because I had, even with insane discipline, you're fighting physiology sometimes.
Yeah, I love that. All right, well, we'll wrap up the drug part of it and slide into another controversial thing. You have added some carbs back into your diet. Is that true?
Oh my gosh, everybody's gonna really hate me. Okay.
Dr. Kiltz made an announcement not too long ago that he's eating a few vegetables and things like that. So, what brought that on? What prompted you to do that? And what do what's your thoughts?
So I remained strict carnivore in weight loss mode and even in the beginning of maintenance because that's what made me feel comfortable. That is what I've known to be the healthiest diet that's going to help me maintain this weight loss and be on the lowest effective dose. If you're eating meat, you can be on a lower dose because it moves so slowly through the digestive system. So I didn't want to add carbs back, to be honest, but there were still adrenal issues. There was still thyroid issues. There's still my body stuck in fight or flight all the time. And I was talking to a practitioner whom I absolutely love, Dr. Scott Schur, and he said, maybe sometimes what we think is healthy isn't as healthy for us in the long run. He was just very gentle about it. And so I started looking into this guy, Jay Feldman, not Dave Feldman, Jay Feldman. So like Dave's ugly redheaded step cousin, except he's really handsome. And he really gives a pretty darn good metabolic case for why some people should eat some carbohydrates. So I slowly did experiments adding things back. And even now I wouldn't call myself high carb, but I'm working on it. And I'm also now recognizing my fear of food that has happened because of the years of food reactions, the years of chronic weight gain, the years of blood sugar issues. I mean, who wouldn't have a fear of foods? So I've been working on that. And what's different, because people always ask, well, what's the difference? That's like, we're just going back to the low fat diet now. That didn't work for us before. Why do you go to that now? That's a really good point. And I thought the same thing when I heard people were adding carbs back, but we're looking at energy instead of carbs bad. So I cut rice. I cut potatoes. I cut fruit. Those are the first things I cut. And those were the first things that I added back. And my body has done pretty good on them when I'm on GLP-1. I recently had to go off of GLP-1 because of gastric bypass complications and the hypoglycemia came back. So right now I'm currently on a high fat diet and very, very low carb.
Yeah, I've never been a hardline carnivore. I'm pretty carnivore in my personal life, but I'm just not judgmental. I think people need to do what's best for them. And I'm not a super spiritual person, but I just think God gave us all these things. He didn't give us Hot Pockets and Pop-Tarts, but he did give us vegetables and fruits and things like that. And so I don't know. Again, this is a controversial position. I don't care. You can send me all the nasty messages you want. Just sharing my thoughts. Like the lion diet, I think that's pretty extreme. I mean, that's, just ruminant meat and water. But
Are you still Laura?
I think, I'm sorry.
Laura was lion for a long time.
Lion.
You still do lion?
Yep. I do with the occasional, I did reset my gut with El Ruderai yogurt. And so now I can do El Ruderai yogurt or A2 milk with the low casein, it doesn't have the casein. And I do occasional, like, if I feel like my gut needs a reset, I make fermented cabbage and fermented pickles, and I'll do some of that. So, but I feel my best eating ruminant animals versus like eating chicken. Like a couple weeks ago, I decided to do chicken thigh, and it was all dark meat chicken. And I ate it, and I was like, it was okay. I didn't have any like reactions, but I was like, 20 minutes later, I was like, I ate a whole pound hamburger because I was like, it didn't fill me up and it didn't stick with me. And I feel like the red meat, of course, that's what I've eaten for a long time because I deer hunt and, we have cow and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, and I do super high fat. I have found that super high fat really, 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 help with the hormones and everything. So yeah. And I mean, we're all different. Like Russ said, I mean, I've worked with people that are diehard vegans, and I've worked with people that are carnivore police.
If you think it's just logical. It's a fallacy of logic to think that one thing is extreme on one side, but there can't be extreme on the other. So if you think it's extreme that somebody is purely plant-based, I mean, they won't even butter, I mean, just purely plant. If you think that's extreme, then you have to logically think that eating just meat only with zero plants is extreme. I mean, that's just, you have to think that you can't think one without the other. And most people, 90% of people, are not going to do either one. They're going to be somewhere in that middle,
in the middle
spectrum somewhere. And you got to find your space. I think, I believe in keeping the main thing, and that is keeping your carbs low, your proteins and fats high. But that means different things to different people. That could mean 70-30 fat to protein and zero fats.
100 carbs.
Yeah, or it could mean some lettuce and tomato every now and again. Who cares? It's all about what works best for you. Carnivore Muscle says your vehicle will travel further using fat than carbs, but if I have anyone introducing carbs, I decrease their overall energy substrate intake by 10 to 20% to mitigate Randall cycle. I don't know what any of that means, but he's very smart. He should be on the panel tonight. I don't know Randall or anything about his bicycle. So, so why don't you smart people talk about
I don't know. There's disputes in the, like, if you look into the bioenergetic path, they say that our body really, especially a stressed out body, so I think Dr. Chafee did a great job actually explaining that there are many different pathways. And, the people who talk like Jay Feldman, he doesn't talk about all the pathways. So some pathways you might use carbs efficiently. Sometimes you won't, cycling back between fat and carb intake or burning. But what I do know is I feel with my body that's been stressed out for a long time, my body is picking less than optimal pathways, even on the carnivore diet. I didn't have energy. My brain was really foggy. And the other thing, I'm totally into like, let's not eat carbs so we can poop. That's great. I love pooping. But what I found is extreme estrogen dominance. And what I was learning was that there are some types of fibers that help us detox excess estrogen. And I ate zero fibers for years, and the estrogen dominance got pretty bad, but it seems to be getting better now. Anyway, Thomas, are you pretty strict carnivore?
Yeah, for the most part. I occasionally I'll have a pickle here and there, but very occasionally. It's like once every like maybe 3 months, I'll decide to have like maybe a few pickles, or and sometimes I do, and I mentioned this before, sometimes like when my sugars get really, really low, like under 50, I'll like under 50, 60, I'll sometimes I live right above a chocolate shop. So sometimes yeah. So sometimes I will go grab a nonpareil or an Oreo cookie or something like that and bring my sugars back up again. But that's the only time.
Yes, that's you heard it.
That often.
You heard it here first on the Keto Cookout, ladies and gentlemen. We bring you exclusive information. I want the world to know that Adrian Gledhill likes pooping.
That's right.
We're always talking about crap here.
That's right.
I don't really.
I love a good smooth move.
I'm more of a fart guy. I don't like pooping. I do miss farting. I do miss that.
I do not miss farting.
That was my thing there. Jim, it says, Russ, would you take the shot? Please. I do not drink alcohol. I will be not doing any shots. But
it would be Sandy.
Yeah, Sandy's the drunk of the show. Sandy's. Remember, what was it? Andy Griffith's show. They had Otis was the town drunk, and he would like lock himself in jail when he was drunk. Sandy's our Otis. But in any event, to I guess put the focus on me. I'm gonna stay in the fight the old school way because I have to be honest. I have not done everything I can do. See, I'm not like Adrian and some of these other folks. I have not been as consistent as I think I can be. I have not made all the changes I should make. I made a ton of changes and I've had a lot of success that I'm happy with. I don't feel like I've gotten out of it what I put into it. I'd say I put in 80% and I don't feel like I've gotten 80% out, but I've never gone 100%. I don't know if I'm capable of 100%, to be perfectly honest with you. So I don't know, but I'm not ready to throw in the towel yet. There are things I can be better at and be more consistent at, and I'm going to roll with that. And I never say never, but I'm really not inclined to do that. Something would really have to compel me to do that. So so is keto, carnivore, or GLP? What is best? Man, I think the moral of the story is what we've all said. Everybody's different, Again, I keep the main thing. It annoys me to no end all the, the ketovore, carnivore, dirty this, dirty that. I mean, look, whatever. The main thing is excess carbohydrates are toxic to us. Processed foods, junk foods, sugars, fruits, grains, they are the enemy, not broccoli, not asparagus. If again, you don't want to eat them, don't eat them. If you like them, eat some of them. I think the excess carbohydrate is the problem. If you can metabolize 50 carbs a day, eat 50 carbs a day. But if you can only metabolize 15 or 20 and you're eating 50, you're going to have problems. Is that, am I, listen, I'm not very smart here, but I mean, am I onto something?
Well, I
think
think also people are saying GLP-1 and not, I think they also are, the question like she's asking that you have up, I think maybe there's peptides out there that are like you were talking about earlier that help affect some of these other things too. And it's not that I mean, not everybody needs the same peptides, the same this, the same that. They need to get with somebody where they can really have their system checked and find out what pathways are locked up on you, what are the issues you have, what are the deficiencies you have, and work with somebody to do that. It's just hard finding practitioners to do that. But I mean, there are quite a few out there, like you say, like Tina Moore. I've seen her before. Um, there are some out there talking about it that do that kind of, education with you. But um, yeah, I think everybody's body is different. I do great on Lion. I feel my greatest on that. I was able to reintroduce, dairy. It has to be casein free. But yeah, I mean, I was able to heal certain things doing that. So, Thomas is doing Victoza and we'll see how that goes. Hopefully that'll help get that hemoglobin A1C down. Yep. And so, you just everybody's different. They got to figure out what works for them. But I don't want people going to regular physicians who are going to start them out and they start everybody out at the same. It's like 2.5, 5, 7.5, next thing you know, they're up to 15 in 2 months' time. And I'm like, Jesus, so they're they do what they always do, the regular medical profession. So I think if they're going to do that, they need to work with somebody that knows what they're doing and is not in it just to make big bucks off of them.
Yeah, and it seems to be working too.
Yeah.
My sugars were like way over 200 for the past like 2 months, and now they're like no higher than 140. So
Good. That's good.
I mean, today they're but they are right now. But they're at 121 right now. So.
Ooh. Hey, what am I?
Question for Adrian there. How is GLP-1 healing the body like carnivore story journeys? Similarities there for people who aren't carnivore. Do you work with people or know people who are eating maybe something not quite standard American diet, but maybe low carb, not maybe ketogenic, but just lower, just watching their carbs a little bit? Do they have the same kind of stories that carnivores have in terms of healing and that? Or
what I'm seeing in my group, which is mostly ketos carnivores, we do have some people who over time start getting comfortable with adding foods back. And that I celebrate because we've had so much fear and so much restriction. And it is nice to see people adding foods back and having peace around it. But the biggest thing that I'm seeing is my group is primarily people who have been keto or carnivore 5, 10 plus years, and they never moved. They either didn't ever get to their goal, not even close to their goal, or they're struggling with regain, or they never lost weight at all, despite joining all the groups, just joining all the challenges. They could just, the needle never moved for them. And a lot of people, like week 1, they go on and they have this whoosh of inflammation comes up. My face has never looked like this. And it's the inflammation. I lost 15 pounds of inflammation in 2 weeks, and I just peed around the clock. And it just felt so good to get that off. Getting inflammation off your body, a bit temporary, because if I went off of it, the inflammation would come back. But it's stopping inflammation at the source. So it's not like a diuretic. I'm not peeing all this. It's not just kicking the inflammation out. It actually stopped inappropriate inflammation, which stops a ton of disease. It's crazy how your brain can feel when it's not inflamed. The gut, like I said, reducing the inflammation, it takes time, allowing that gut biome. Now, again, if you're standard dosing and you're high dosing, maybe for you, high dose is the starting dose. If you're high dosing, that could hurt your gut because it's frozen. And that could absolutely hurt the nerves, the paralysis, the biome. So it can be super healing. But the best thing is that every day we have people who are like, I have been fighting this for 40 years and I finally hit my goal. and then even more to be able to maintain it. And most people, myself included, have been able to come down on dose. I went up to about mid dose and I've come way down. So I don't think we need to stay, even if that's what it took to get to our goal. I also see a lot of people, including myself, building some muscle. Another thing I want to say to people out there, whether you're on GLP-1 or not, that work you're doing is working. My body composition, I think, is better than most people on GLP-1. And I don't think it's because of the exercise I did while on this journey. I think it's because I've exercised my whole life. I consistently did it, even when I was gaining weight, even when I was not feeling good. I just kept going and kept doing it. And that work is under there, whether you can see it or not.
Lizzie had a question. Sugar can still go up without eating sugar? Everything you eat raises your blood sugar to some degree.
Gluconeogenesis.
It's about spiking blood sugars. And, you know, carbs are not all the same. A Snickers bar is not the same as a potato. I mean, yes, it's carbs, but it's
They're different.
Refined. It's not high fructose corn syrup. It's natural. It's a whole food. It's got fiber to slowly uptakes. Ultimately, yes, it will raise your blood sugar more than butter. But you know, eating a sweet potato here and there, or eating some type of vegetables here and there, most people just are going to do that. I think that's what they consider normal and that sort of thing. And it's okay. Again, it's about understanding how much you can metabolize and not just constantly having excess carbohydrates. And, you know, again, the enemy is the refined sugars, the processed foods, the junk foods, sugar, grains. You know, there is a hierarchy of bull junk. You know, I mean, it's like all bull junk is not the same. Some bull junk is worse than other bull junk. So on the hierarchy of bull junk, the sweet potato is better than, you know, oatmeal, you know, maybe, or something. So you just have to figure it out, you know, and again, keep your carbs as low as you can. And you know how you feel. Listen, it doesn't take much to know when you eat something or drink something or change something. You can tell whether or not it's working for you or not. You just know. And so listen to your body. And, you know, Jimit says, I'm fun and I sing. Yes. And if you guys want to throw a song or two in the chat, I will. We are getting near the end here. We're coming to the end of the road. But you know, it's the Christmas season. I guess I could sing a Christmas song or something, or if you have something on your mind. But why don't you, you know, we're going to wrap up here, but anything new and exciting coming up on your channel, Laura, that you want to plug or talk about?
Just every Monday, I do my little educational videos on different health conditions still. I've had so many people reach out to give me disease processes that I had never even heard of. I was like, what is that? So I really like that, because then I go out and research the heck out of stuff. So it's like I'm like a sponge. I just keep learning more stuff. So I kind of like that. So that's what I'll be doing. And hopefully I'll be cutting up another deer if my husband could just shoot one this next weekend. That would be great.
There you go. What about you, Tom? Anything going on exciting on your channel? Anything you want to plug or talk about?
Yeah, I just have like four great people going to be on my channel in the next future. Lynn Devoki is going to be on there on the 20th. And then I have Laura is going to be on there on the 27th, which I'm excited about. And then Adrian's going to be there on the 17th of January. And then I have Jen Mann's going to be on my carniversary. It's going to be there January 1st. So
that'll be your 1 year?
That'll be my 1 year.
Awesome.
Yep.
Love that. Congratulations there, brother. Love that. What about you, Adrian? Anything exciting or anything you want to plug while we're here that you got going on?
Definitely come to radicallyhealthy.com if you want to join a community. I have a free community and a private community. It's primarily ketos and carnivores who are going low and slow with GLP-1 and having a lot of success. I'm excited to go on Thomas's show. I'm going to be recording with Dr. Amy Horniman coming up here pretty soon. And I'm starting pre-med in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to make it through. I'm giving it to God. But, you know, with perimenopause brain and 4 kids, but I'm praying, because there's nothing more I'd like to do than help people. And I think that, you know, whether I go through endless certifications or I just do it, just do it. And yeah, I'll be like 52 to 55 when I graduate, but
That's okay.
it would be amazing. So I'm hoping and praying that all pans out, because I know getting into school is very difficult.
We cannot have too many medical professionals that that are ketogenic
Have a
and
good heart.
fighting the good fight behind enemy lines in the trenches,
Yep.
fighting with the standard of care and the big health systems and all
Yep.
in power that it keeps us ignorant and keeps us fed with lies
Sick.
about what's good for us, and Cheerios being heart healthy and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. So I got nothing other than the Keto Cookout Tuesdays at 8:30, where we have fun time. We did some learning tonight, and my head hurts, but I'm going to to send us out of here.
Well, next week it'll be different. So
that's right. We'll be back. Hey, Rick will be on next week. We'll be back to regularly scheduled programming, tomfoolery, hijinks, and ridiculousness. So, but in the Christmas spirit, we'll hit you with "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas." Let your heart be light. From now on, our troubles will be out of sight, out of sight. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Make the Yuletide gay. From now on, our troubles will be miles away. Here we are as in olden days. Happy golden days of yours. Faithful friends who are dear to us, gather near to us once more. Through the years, we all will be together. If the fates allow, hang a shining star upon the highest bough, and have yourself a merry little Christmas. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Have yourself a merry little Christmas now. Merry Christmas.
Very good. Very good.
And the Keto Cookout. Till then, keep your carbs low, your proteins about high. We'll see you on the next one.
See ya.